on it. I mean, absolutely, because like there was a time last season when I was afraid, as Rene said, that he was going to turn into old Uncle Harry, you know, and smoking his pipe and dispensing sage advice, but it's not happening. Why?
I have a question for Rene and Sid.
What do the people over there do about Mike? Oh, you've got one. It's just totally unused. Rene and Sid. Nobody knows who we are. What's the problem?
Let the gentleman ask his question.
Yeah, I have a question for Rene and Sid. How is Kira doing?
Well, you can ask him how Nana is doing. Ask me how Kira's doing.
There was a time, I have to say, it was like, I've got to work with Rene, she says, coming home one night. I don't know about this whole love affair thing. It's just not going to be my cup of tea. This guy's like a bucket. And what worries me is that now it's like, well, Rene thinks that the best, Rene's favorite play is, Rene's favorite color is, Rene's idea about this is.
Well, I'll tell you, he's having a lot more fun with Kira than
I do not know that.
I guarantee you.
That's what she says.
Oh, this could get very ugly.
The guy in the big coat is my private detective.
People have asked me at conventions, well, what was it like, when you had to kiss a visitor, in front of Sid. Well, Sid actually wasn't standing around on guard that day. Believe me, Sid doesn't come to the set when he doesn't have to come to the set. We're lucky to get him to the set. But, so he wasn't there. And the truth is, there's something very weird about having it's easier to do a love scene with a stranger than it is to do it with someone who is, just a friend. And it sort of gets a little weird feeling. And we looked at each other before we did that scene. We said, come on, we're pros. We can handle this. And of course, I had this rubber face on, so it's the safest kiss that could ever happen.
Prophylactic what he wears.
I think they understood that.
I wanted to make it clear for my fans.
You have a really huge prophylactic. You should wear a diaper on that baby. That's why we're separated, you see. But in the makeup trailer, it's that way too. The first season, we sat next to each other in the makeup trailer, and then they separated us because we never stopped talking and bickering with each other.
Hate each other.
Hate each other.
Hate each other.
Well, we know that Julian doesn't really have much of a love life, but...
That's an understatement.
He's looking at medical journals when he's on there.
And Odo is incredibly romantic with Kira. Who do you think is the most romantic character?
I gotta say it's Odo.
Yeah, I would say it was Odo.
I gotta say the most romantic character is Odo. They just seem to just do romantic stuff. Everybody else is dealing with...
Yeah, but listen, check it out. The guy's a changeling, right? Now, it doesn't take a genius to figure out, I mean... We're talking about beyond lucky here. He can hold his shape for 18 hours.
And then he has to disappear.
Perfect lover.
That's why he wears a prophylactic on his face.
Moving on.
Okay. Yeah, go on, jump in, ma'am.
I'm trying, I don't think I can follow that. My question is for Mr. Auberjonois. I'm from Salt Lake, and I was really disappointed because the first time in my life I got a front row center seat for Don Juan in Hell, and now you couldn't do it.
It wasn't my fault. It was Ed Asner's fault.
I know.
He went off on a cruise, and he didn't go. And so, since he was our big star, I mean, I'm really thrilled that you guys would be here, but Ed Asner was the big drawing ticket, and so when he dropped out of it, we'll do it again, and we'll come, and please do come and see it, because it's a good evening. This is a show called Don Juan in Hell, which Ed Asner and Harris Yulin, and we've done it with various different people, Cherry Jones and Mira from Babylon 5, and so...
I'm really looking forward to it.
Good,
So.
thanks a lot.
I just want to say congratulations to Julian Bashir, Alexander Siddig on his new baby.
Thank you.
And I want to know if any of you...
It's not so new now. It has a 5 o'clock shadow.
I want to know if any of you could change your character in any way. What would you do with your character?
I don't know, because I have been asked that before, and it's a question that most actors have an answer for, but I don't really have much of an answer for Bashir, because Bashir has always changed in a kind of really organic way. I have no complaints with that character, and I've really enjoyed myself doing the character, and every year something new happens to him. I mean, he becomes genetically enhanced, for example, whether or not that's good or bad, everyone argues about it, it happens. Then he becomes like a private eye, or whatever he is now, this new, slightly part of this insidious group called Section Closet, whatever it is.
Section Closet.
Something like that. We're like deep undercover anyway. That's all I know. I'm not even allowed to know what it is that we're involved with. But I love the character and I love what he does. And I haven't really got any kind of, there's nothing, there are the things, I mean, you love to say, now he's got to do something bigger and better. He's got to take over a ship. He's got to become a captain. But see, that's not likely to happen with someone like Bashir, who isn't really capable of organizing much at all. His own love life is one moot point that we have. So maybe that's something that might be interesting to maybe... I'm fancying the idea that he gets deeply involved with Kira. Odo becomes insanely jealous and he kills Odo. He's done it once before. He's done it in an alternate universe. Odo was just splat on a wall. Like chewing gum. I was just... No, I don't really have any plans. I'm really just very que sera with the Bashir character.
Thanks for Armin. Oh, down here in front. How much more this season will you be on Buffy as Principal Snyder?
For those who didn't hear, the question is, how much more of the season will I be on Buffy? Until they eat me. I don't know. I did one episode last week, which was the second episode of their season. They talked to me about a major episode coming up in mid-September. But I'm grateful to Deep Space Nine, especially Steve Oster, our line producer, who's very good about letting all of us go out and do different projects when we have the opportunity. So I don't know. The answer is I don't know.
Outside of the series, the Star Trek series, what was the best part that you all had to play? And with the sidebar, Mr. Robinson, what was it like being the villain for Dirty Harry?
Well, it was, thank you. At the time I didn't know because it was my first film, so I just thought, all filmmaking was you went in there and you frothed at the mouth and screamed a lot, and had big movie stars, kick the out of you, and then you got paid this enormous amount of money, which at the time, now if somebody offered me a job, well, actually, they, being constantly offered me jobs for that amount of money, these days, so that doesn't apply anymore. It was a great experience. It was actually a life-changing experience for me. I mean, good and bad. But in terms of the work itself, I mean, it was an absolute joy. And in terms of filmmaking, it didn't get much better than that.
I'll make it short. The role that I was most taken with and also changed my life was Cyrano de Bergerac.
I've always found these questions about anything that's most or best or funniest. I go blank, but also truthfully, I'm pretty sure I'm the oldest person on the stage. Maybe Andy and I we're contemporaries, but we've both been around a long time, and I've done a lot of stuff, and it depends on whether you're talking about the stage. I mean, Armin was talking about Cyrano, and that, of course, I think all of us are sort of have had training for the stage, and so stage maybe draws us. I would say that Molière, doing Molière on the stage was a high point for me, and my first film was MASH, and that was a great experience. And again, just as Andy said, when it's your first film, you think it's always going to be like that. And I had no idea that working with a director like Robert Altman would be such a unique and I knew it was rich while it was happening, but I just thought, well, you know, this is the way it is when you make movies. But so I guess, you know, you go back to that loss of a certain innocence and remember it fondly if you're lucky.
Well, other than that,
Yes, sir. What your question is? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh man, excuse me.
Francis is not going to ask me anything anymore.
Ask your name.
What is your name?
What is your name, ma'am?
Her name is Ariana Nerys.
Ariana Nerys.
There's a beautiful baby down here, for those of you who can't.
You can hear her from time to time.
And she's dressed as a Bajoran.
She is. She's in a Bajoran.
Yeah. So she's going to blame me for that. I was in the German kid. Exactly. Fit me like it fits me. Yeah, I only ever had 2 jobs apart from Star Trek, so it's been pretty easy for me to you know, I literally, my resume reads A Dangerous Man, God's Holy War, and then Deep Space Nine, about 100 times. Big Bang, that's what it's called, not God's Holy War. It was like God's Holy War. It was about God's Holy War. No, so I have no real...
This is how it goes against the lies on the show.
Yeah, my name's Bashir Julian... Wait a minute. Something like that. So I have really nothing to... These guys are the experienced guys, and these are the guys I'm constantly kneeling at their feet to clean. I spend my entire time following them around on set, asking them if they'll give me their advice on this line or that line. And occasionally they deign to give me some advice, you know. Like, just stand up, Sid. Get up, don't crawl.
This question is for Armin, going back to Buffy. I love your character as the principal, and it seemed there was a couple episodes where it seemed like there was some secret agenda for you being there, like Buffy's watcher child. Have the producers said anything about they're going to elaborate on that, or?
I remember what you're talking about, and I went up to the executive producer, who actually comes to